There it goes.
That's how I take it.
I'll talk to you, Dad. I gotta talk to you.
Yes.
Well, James.
Yeah.
This one right here. I don't know if you can do that. Yeah, I know you can.
You're good. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. All right, kids. Let's see what we're doing here. Did that. Yeah.
Did you get the updated starting hours?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
So you didn't?
Nope.
We're starting at 9:30.
I thought we were starting at 9.
No,
Okay.
we're starting at 9:30. So just gave me the word, so I'm just letting the people that I
Okay.
see know.
Well, the stream's up, so
Okay, that's fine. Graphics look good.
yeah.
You know, great job, guys. And well, sorry, my hand. I will give you a handshake, but my hands are a little clammy because I'm like a little nervous, but at the same time, like when I'm around, I'll give you an S bump instead. Good. But yeah, if y'all need anything, just hit me on the team. Okay.
All right.
Should not give you. Y'all have to get up. I have to be all legs for y'all. So just hit me on the team if y'all need anything, and I will. Sorry.
No, I just didn't see you. That 96.
and our partners of equity, including Self-Help Credit Union, United Way of Greater Atlanta. We can give them a hand. Yes, we can give them a hand. Philanthropy Southeast, Annie E. Casey Foundation, yes, and the Community Foundation for Greater Atlanta. We are also honored to have our partners from the National Equity Atlas here today. The Atlas is an online data and policy tool produced through a partnership between PolicyLink and USC's Equity Research Institute. It provides communities, advocates, and policymakers with actionable data and strategies to advance racial and economic equity. You can find the Atlas team at the table right near the entrance today, and they're sharing new data on urban heat islands, and would love your input and feedback. So please swing by to chat with them between sessions and at lunch. And of course, we can't forget our amazing vendors. Shout out to them, providing some of the best local goods, services, and treats. Be sure to check them out. We have Sugar Ray's Shea Skincare, Tutu Maniac, Creative Connections, Worthy Elevation, Tracy West Irresistible Pound Cakes. I know I need to get a pound cake. I've been wanting one since yesterday. Try Diaz and other treats. Blue Rose Scented Candles, Bar Friendly Mobile Bartending, the Banana Pudding Company, and Visual Outlet Media. They will be here throughout the day, and so please support our vendors as well. And let's give one more huge round of applause to DJ Salah for setting the vibes this morning. All right. So before we dive in, I want to do a quick check-in. We are here building something powerful today. And I want to check in and make sure that we're in alignment. So let's set our collective energy on a scale from 1 to 10. 1 being I'm barely here, Tyra, and 10 being I'm ready to build a just future. How are y'all feeling? Let me hear some numbers. How are y'all feeling? 10? I hear some 10s. I hear some 10s. I hear mostly 10s. If there was anybody who's not a 10, I just want you all to know by the time you leave here today, I want every single person in this room to be a 10. Deal? All right. And I just want to provide a few housekeeping and engagement details. So please take a moment right now, if you haven't already, to silence your phones. Trust me, you don't want to be one where your ringtone is blasting during a powerful moment. And please be fully present. Limit side conversations and walking. And if you have a thought or a question or an idea related to one of our key issue areas, if you look around the room, there's Post-it papers all around the wall, and there's sticky notes on your tables. So feel free to use them as a parking lot for ideas throughout the day. And to set the stage for today's convening, we want to ground ourselves in the real work that's happening across the South. This week, the Partnership for Southern Equity released a powerful video produced in collaboration with the Skoll Foundation and Freethink that highlights the fight for environmental justice in Brunswick, Georgia. In this video, you'll hear from our founder and Chief Equity Officer, Nathaniel Smith, and the Just Energy team, as they support Brunswick residents in demanding environmental cleanup, advocating for equitable policies, and preparing for a future defined by resilience. This video is called Advancing Justice in Southern Communities. I want to invite you to watch it with intention and ask yourselves, how can we apply these lessons to our own work?
In the South, because I was surrounded by great Black leaders. But at the same time, there were many areas that were considered invisible.
The southeastern portion of the United States has the most Superfly sites in the country. What we're seeing is that Black, brown, and indigenous communities are being impacted first and worst by climate disasters. Through our efforts, we've been able to give them tools to fight for cleaning up of these sites and helping communities become more resilient and prepared as these climate disasters increase and accelerate.
If I can walk you through a community that has been disinvested in, and I can show you a community that is not valued by the people in power, if we're able to realize that values revolution, at the end of the day, we will win. To solve the world's most pressing problems, we need to trust those closest to the challenge. These are the solutions that make our world a better place for everyone. This is Rethinking Possible. This is to organize our way out of this. We organize around a spirit. The only way out of this is to organize our way out of this. We organize around a spirit of abundance and love. The Partnership for Southern Equity is a nonprofit organization that is working in Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and other states to ensure that all people have an opportunity to reach their full potential through a new Southern agenda for shared prosperity and inclusive opportunity. I am very much inspired by Dr. King and to be connected to his legacy through the engagement of my family in the Southern Freedom Movement gives me not only a certain level of humility as it relates to my leadership, but also a peace and an urgency around the work. The Partnership for Southern Equity ensures federal and local investments prioritize equity and sustainability in Southern communities by equipping residents with the tools to fight for environmental justice and advocate for policies that reflect their values.
Here in the South especially, we see communities that consistently have poor health outcomes. Asthma, cancer, morbidity rates. And a lot of these issues are not because of people's poor choices. It's because of the conditions that they live under. Brunswick, Georgia is one of our rural coastal communities. The Black community there is literally encircled by Superfund sites, which are toxic sites in communities where people are living, working, or playing. Right over this way is the north side. That's one of the hazardous waste sites. Contaminants like mercury or toxic or lead. On the right-hand side is where the chemical explosion occurred in 2023.
And that breaking news alert, a shelter-in-place order issued for the entire city of Brunswick as firefighters fight a massive fire at a Canova plant.
I didn't even know what was going on. They kept stopping, and when they all said it, tastes like stuff, I'm like, oh boy.
Superfund sites have been such an issue in Brunswick that Emory University collected samples from 100 residents to quantify the exposure of chemicals in their blood.
Many study participants tested higher than the average American for toxaphene, a pesticide once produced in Brunswick, now banned in the United States. They also tested higher for PCBs, which can cause cancer and reproductive problems.
The partnership is solutions that combine environmental cleanup, healthcare access, and community empowerment. Residents are trained to recognize and report environmental violations, and healthcare providers work to spot pollution-related health risks.
Some of the solutions that my portfolio this year really worked on was helping the city and the counties come up with a climate plan. I think we really helped shed light for the elected officials there on what really matters to the people that live there. So our values-based organizing has been able to give people that language of the values of equity, the values of justice, that can really shift the policies to create a healthier and safer environment for the people that live in Brunswick.
So right here is Dr. King's birth home. They're doing some repairs, but this is holy ground. I believe that, energy is transferred, and I think that his energy in many ways has been transferred to many people who have continued to carry on his vision and legacy. We as an organization are deeply committed to this belief that so goes the South, so goes the nation. in our other initiatives. We saved customers in Georgia billions of dollars as it relates to the current issues in the state. We developed the first equity and inclusion strategic plan of any city in the state of Georgia. I'm also really thankful about what we've done around youth power. The only way to the future is consider precious. We're going to continue to push with our friends, whether it be the private sector, academia, whether it be philanthropy, whether it be everyday people. For us, we need that together. The partnerships of the equity is a part of a long-standing movement for justice that began many decades ago in the American South. We just believe that we are a part of the relay. It's just our opportunity to run as fast as we can, so the next generation will be a little bit closer to the finish line.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, let's take a moment to sit back. What's happening in Brunswick, Georgia is a powerful reminder of why we are here today. This is a call to action. It's about communities demanding justice, fighting for environmental change, pushing for policies that people over profit. So this video highlighted the incredible work of two of PSE teams, Just Energy and Health Health. Two of our verticals driving communities impacted by the rising health injustices. Let's give them a round of applause. And now, to continue setting the stage for today's conversations, I am honored to welcome someone who helps carry this work forward. Please join me in welcoming Angela Connor, our People and Culture Manager here at PSE, to introduce our founder. Yes, yes, give her a hand. Yes.
Well, good morning, everyone. Awesome. So I am the joy person at PSC, which is why I carry this tambourine, right? This work is hard. And I am so excited to be here to introduce Nathaniel Smith. Everyone knows his accolades. We know all of the awards he's gotten. We know his history. We know how PSC was built. We know that part. But do you know the man behind the legacy? Okay? Nathaniel Smith, a native to Atlanta, Kirkwood, right? Morehouse, baby. Oh, really? HBCUs in the house, right? Okay. But Nathaniel is a community man. He is a devoted father, family man, and devoted to community. Not just one, but all community. He can go to Vining City. He can go to Collier Heights. He can go to Temple. He can go wherever in the world and speak the message of truth and equity. It takes a special type of person to do that. He is a son of the Southern. He's been a part of equity since he was a child. Let's just say that. And he's a little older now, right, Nathaniel? So his accolades should be long, hours and hours of accolades, right? It takes a special person, as I said, to do that work. It takes heart. Not just the mental part, but it takes the heart. So today, Nathaniel's going to talk to you from his heart and tell you what the next steps are in this racial equity movement that we have. Nathaniel, can you come to the stage, please? My brother in equity, Nathaniel Smith.
Good morning. I tell you, it is wonderful, truly to see you all this morning. Thank you for sharing your Saturday morning with us. many of you work hard, and for you to decide to be here with us means the most. Uh, Time is precious and valuable. And so, for that, we're just truly thankful that you're willing to invest your time, not only in this particular effort, but hopefully in the future, you will be willing to invest your time in working with us to create a society where all people can be seen as valuable, as precious, and that all people will be positioned in a way to be a part of the change that we need in our community. And let us be clear, the type of change that we need will require all of us, to be involved in the shaping and the reimagining of a better world for all of us. And let us be clear also, for those that may be confused, we will never, ever, ever go back to the way things were. I'm going to be completely transparent. We should want to, because yesterday didn't work for most of us. So we have an opportunity to create a tomorrow that works for everybody. But it's up to us to decide whether we're going to fight or whether we're going to roll over and allow this moment to intimidate us to the point where we're just going to give it up. And I want to tell you today that doing nothing is an option. Doing nothing is not an option. The neighborhood that you live in, the degree that you have, fraternity that you're a part of, and perceived privilege that you may think you were able to accumulate over this time will not save you. It will not save you from this moment. Standing on the sidelines and hoping that they will not knock on your door or hurt your family will not save you. Because if they come for the most vulnerable in our communities, believe me, they will come for you. So we have to be willing to come together and do things that we may be afraid to do, and speak out in ways that may put us in harm's way. But we have to do that now if we want a better future, because there is no going back. So what is the tomorrow that we want for all people? And we have an opportunity to create that together. Together. We're learning that this culture of fear and culture of classism and greed is not just affecting Black folks today. Even though the primary focus of the propaganda machine was this idea of the DEI hire, basically meant initially Black people being hired for jobs they were qualified for. But guess what? It's not just Black folks now that are being considered DEI hires. Now, Lisa, white women are considered DEI hires too by their power structure, and they're being fired as well. Other communities of color are now being displaced and considered DEI hires as well. So we have an opportunity to understand that this isn't just about a push and pull between two segments of the community. It's not just about Black or white. Right now, we're dealing as a human family with right or wrong. And I don't, this is just me, and for people that know me, I try my best to be as transparent as I can. It's wrong for a child to be bullied to the point of killing themselves because they're concerned about their parents being there. It's wrong. It's wrong for an individual who has worked hard and been extremely successful in their education to be fired because they're considered DEI hire when they were qualified for a particular job that they were given or assigned. That's wrong. At the same time, it's wrong for a senior citizen in Appalachia right now to be concerned about whether they're going to get their TANF check because the checks have been cut because they never thought that the person that they voted for would attack and harm them. They thought that they would be attacking other people, but now they're learning that they're being attacked in the same fashion. It's wrong. So we can talk about all of the statistics and all of the various things that make the case from a data perspective about why the direction that we're going is harming us. But we know deep down inside that this is wrong. We don't have to see data or statistics to understand that it's wrong when people have to wake up in the morning and have to choose between paying their light bill and buying groceries. It's wrong. So what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it as a community? And before we strategize and mobilize, organize around these various issues, we have to do what Dr. Thurman said, and that is come alive. We have to be willing to come alive before we can sit and talk about what the strategies and the tactics are. And that's why PSE wanted to create this space for us to come alive collectively, because at the end of the day, we are dealing with an opposition that is trying to kill us. And not just kill us physically. They're trying to kill our dignity. They're trying to kill our empathy. They're trying to kill our connection. They're trying to kill our hope, our faith in humanity. They're trying to kill every aspect of who we are as human beings. And the only thing that we can do to push up against that is to come alive. We have to come alive and refuse to allow anyone to take our connection away from us as a human family, or our commitment to create a loving community that Dr. Clean talked about. We have to come alive. So I hope that this time that we have together will give us a chance to get to know each other and to also dream together about what is possible. And also think of ways that we can strategize about the future that we want for our children, our elders, and future generations. We have to do it together. No one organization can do it alone. No one leader can do it alone. Because this role, if you choose it with us, it's not going to be easy. For a long time, after George Floyd's murder, it was cool to talk about this stuff. Supposedly, the corporations gave money, the foundations gave money. We saw commercials, and all types of marketing that made it seem as if America had taken a step forward. But look at where we are now. And we have to be willing to understand where we are now and also embrace the fact that a lot of people are like, what can we do? And there are a lot of people that are going to do all they can to stop our progress. And so at the end of the day, for those that are committed to this movement, you may not be invited to the barbecues. And you may not be invited to the banquets anymore. You may not get the guilt money anymore. But it's okay because we have this community of courage that we can connect to and work collectively together on moving us forward as a community. So I wish I could say to you all that this is going to be an easy road. It's not. But I hope you'll still choose it because it's the right thing to do. And people are depending on us to do it. Nobody else is going to do it, y'all. We got to do it ourselves. Nobody. This isn't a movie. The winner will not just win because it's the right thing to do. We have to fight for it. We have to fight for it. So I hope that you will leverage this time and I've of course invited some friends to share their thoughts. I hope that you will leverage this opportunity as a moment in time that will inspire you and allow you to dream and come alive and connect with key parts of our ecosystem that are working collectively to advance equity. And even more so, be willing to stand up together collectively for what you believe in. Because let us be clear, if we call diversity, equity, and inclusion dog or cat or elephant, it wouldn't matter what we called it, they would still be against it. It is what we believe in that they hate. It is what we are standing for that they hate. So we will never, ever, ever be in a position where we can find the right words that will make them comfortable with the world that we're working to create. There's nothing. So let's move away from that and get to work. Because one thing I promise you, the Partnership for Southern Equity will always be the Partnership for Southern Equity. Always. The Partnership for Southern Equity will always stand up for Black people. The Partnership for Southern Equity will always stand up for marginalized communities. The Partnership for Southern Equity will always fight for the beloved community and believe that love is the transformational force today, yesterday, and tomorrow. And we will stand on that. So you never have to worry about PSE switching up. Because before we let a foundation tell us what to do, we'll have fish fries outside. Because I'm very, very clear that there's a difference, and my staff understands this. There's a difference between a job and an assignment. And we've been given an assignment.
It's not a job for me. I had the cushy job. I had a good job, young and free, and had a good job. But that wasn't important to me. I love my people more than I love my job. And that's why 15 years ago, PSC was founded. So I'm excited. I look forward to us really coming together. And again, this isn't this is not a pity party. This is not about us patting ourselves on the back. This is not a woe is me conversation. This is about us coming alive and beginning the process of strategizing together around how we're going to move forward collectively as a family and as a village towards the type of world that everyone deserves to be in. So, never going back, y'all. We're never going back. It's up to you to decide what we're going to. That is where the fight is. Where are we going? Not where we've been. So thank y'all. We're gonna have a good time. I'll be around shaking hands and I hope that everybody finds time to say hello. And so now I'm going to take a step back and please let's come alive. Let's come alive today. Okay? Thank you.
Love is a transformational force. I love that. Thank you so much. Let's take a moment to thank our leader, visionary, and the driving force behind PSE, Mr. Nathaniel Smith. Thank you. Yes. Now, as we continue today's conversation, it's vital to remember the power of collective action. As Nathaniel so powerfully reminded us in his speech, we cannot do it alone. We must come alive together, united in our commitment to justice and equity. And with that in mind, I'm thrilled to introduce the next leader who has been a tireless advocate for just growth and regional equity. Join me in welcoming Suzanne Burns, Just Growth Director here at PSE, who will introduce our next speaker.
Always a really hard act to follow. Y'all, we need partners. We need allies, advocates, partners in this work ahead. And we are thrilled to have a long and beautiful relationship with the Atlanta Regional Commission. I get the privilege of introducing the current Executive Director and CEO, Anna Roach. So please allow me to tell you a little bit about her background, and then we're going to hear from her. Anna is the Executive Director and CEO of the Atlanta Regional Commission, directing the agency's work in policy areas that span the various disciplines under ARC's purview. She also leads the Commission's engagement with elected and appointed officials at the federal, state, and local levels. She's got a lot on her plate. Prior to joining ARC in 2022, Roach served as Chief Operating Officer and Chief Strategy Officer at PPP. A lawyer by training, she's worked as a management consultant focusing on operational and business process efficiency, and has held several key legal leadership positions during her career. She's a member of the Rotary Club of Atlanta, the American Bar Association, and serves as an advisory board member at Tyler Technologies, as well as Avenue Insights and Analytics, and is the past board chair of the Atlanta March of Dimes. She holds a Juris Doctor from St. John's University, a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from State University of New York College at Cortland. Roach resides in the city of South Fulton with her husband and 3 children. Please join me in welcoming Anna Roach to the stage.
Good morning. How's everybody this morning? Okay, so I'm going to do my part to get everybody to a 10 or to keep them at a 10 for you, okay? Got a little bit of information to share with you, but first I want to thank Susan for that very, very generous introduction. I'm delighted to be here. I want to talk a little bit about Nathaniel. He doesn't know this, But when he speaks, I have trouble breathing. Like I hold my breath because I feel everything that he says so deep inside my core. The man has a special love for this work that he does. Um, and I hope someday to have a little bit of his passion. And it's what's going to make this thing that we are gathered here today to do actually happen. Actually happen. Nathaniel, I admire you. I appreciate you for creating this space. The partnership with Southern Equity is important to this region, and it is important to me personally. And I thank you for every single thing that you have done. Excuse me. My goal here today with this presentation is twofold. First, I have some information to share with you that the Atlanta Regional Commission gathers and analyzes that I hope will provide a little bit of context to the work that you do and shed light on the Partnership for Southern Equity's mission and its goal of gathering you together today. The second thing I want to do is echo a little bit of what Nathaniel said, which is to inspire you to understand your role in moving this region forward, in moving Metro Atlanta communities forward. So I hope I get to do that. It is our collective spirit that's going to be an example for the rest of the region, the rest of this state, and the rest of this country. Right? We have got to bring Metro Atlanta together. Don't look for where else this work is going to start. We're going to start it right here. Our vision for the Atlanta Regional Commission is to create one great region. It's a simple vision we want everybody to embrace. And I am truly proud and gratified to know that that vision for Metro Atlanta is so connected to the vision that we have here. It is really rooted in this belief that we want everybody to succeed. I'm just trying to get this here. Keep going. Okay, I'm not sure where the slide. Okay, I can't get to the link. All right, while we get the slides pulled up here, I want to talk to you about the Atlanta Regional Commission. I'll give you a little bit of background. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. But the Atlanta Regional Commission was originally founded alongside 12 regional commissions. Principal role at the time was to support comprehensive planning in collaboration with local, excuse me, local communities. Get us where we're supposed to be, right? With local communities. And so since that time, our responsibility has grown far beyond regional comprehensive planning. And now we have unique relationships with the federal government, unique relationships with the state government to invest in Metro Atlanta in 8 different verticals, right? We're governed by a 41-member board, which essentially is made up of the chairs of our member jurisdictions, mayors within those jurisdictions, as well as citizen members. Again, our portfolio now includes planning, transportation planning, long-range planning to 2050, community development, aging and independent services, workforce development, mobility services, and homeland security preparedness. So a large investment portfolio. We invest about $3 billion on an annual basis across those verticals in the Metro Atlanta region. But perhaps the most important thing that we do at ARC is ground all of our long-range planning and investments in data through our research and analytics department. ARC is known for its robust research department, and we take pride in providing data and analysis to our stakeholders at the public and private sector and also to all of the folks that are here today. This information, as I stated before, really grounds all of the long-range planning that we do, as well as the investment that we make. So what exactly does that data tell us about Metro Atlanta? Metro Atlanta has been one of the fastest growing regions for decades now in the United States. We sit right about 6 million people, and we are the sixth fastest growing region in the country. Who was around in 1996 when the Olympics was in Atlanta? We are twice as big as we were back then in 1996. Just to give you a little bit of context about how fast we are growing as a region. We are also an incredibly diverse region. We have about 40% white constituents of our region, 33% Black, and our Hispanic Latino community sits right at about 13%. The diversity of Metro Atlanta has always been our secret sauce. It's why people want to be here. It's why companies want to relocate here. It's part of the reason that we are so successful as a region. The other trend that we're watching closely at the Atlanta Regional Commission is our aging population. Right now, 1 in 5 of us are over the age of 60, and we will see that percentage of our aging population grow as we look at our future statistics. Those are massive changes for our region. Again, 1996 for the Olympics, where we are right now. I want to talk to you about where we're going to be. ARC does long-range planning. We look and project our population estimates all the way out through 2050. This is what our forecast tells us. We are going to add 1.8 million people to this region by 2050. So when you're at church or at Instagram and you hear people say that Atlanta is full, can you help me let them know Atlanta is not full? And we've got 1.8 million people who are going to come to our region by 2050, whether we want to believe it or not. They're coming, right? Nearly all of that growth that we're going to experience as a region will come from communities of color. I'll give you an example. By 2050, the Latin American community will represent 21% of our population. Does anybody know what that population is now? It's just at 12%. 12% now will be 21% by 2050. Okay? We'll see our fastest growth in our outer suburbs. So think communities in Cherokee County, Forsyth County, Henry County. We're going to see those populations explode. But about half of that growth, about 800,000 people, are going to be concentrated in our urban cores. So think about counties like Fulton, DeKalb, Gwinnett, Cobb. They're going to see their fair share of this growth as well. Now I want to talk a little bit about data that's directly relevant to the work that you are doing here in this room. I want to start with some core economic metrics, right? At the top bar on this chart, you'll see that the median household income for our entire region is about $90,000 per household. That's not bad for a region, right? However, there is a sizable gap, as you can see, when you look at incomes in the northern part of our region and compare them to incomes in the southern part of our region. North of I-20, we've seen median household income levels at $100,000, exceeding the region's average. And below, it's about $76,000, which is about a quarter less. The same pattern holds true when you consider the region's poverty rates, right? The yellow, orange, and red colors on this map, they're a little red, but they're there. They represent the highest poverty rates in a region and where they are concentrated. Now, the darker blue areas on the map show where our poverty rates are lowest, and there is a stark divide. You'll see that poverty concentrated in certain parts of our region. You'll see pockets in the city of Atlanta, Fulton County, and lots of that concentration in the southern parts of our region. I looked at the attendee list, and many of you here are focusing on health outcomes. Our research shows on this map that where you live in Metro Atlanta, and it always pains me to share the statistic, but where you live in Metro Atlanta has a direct correlation with how long you live in Metro Atlanta. If you just look at this map, someone who lives in zip code 30339 can expect to live on average 25 years longer than someone who lives just 7 miles away in the very same region. And of course, there are many factors at play. I'll talk to some of them now: education, health outcomes, transportation, they all feed into that. Quality of life, life expectancy. So let's dig into that. Let's look at educational attainment. The red areas on this map show where your communities are. Your 64% or more of adults aged 25 or older have a bachelor's degree. And you'll see the blue areas representing the lowest percentage of college educated constituents of our region. Health insurance is another important measure, right? Our red areas on this map are going to show areas where you have the highest proliferation of individuals that have health coverage. And the blue areas are areas where you have low or no health insurance in those communities. Again, concentrations in Clayton County, Central Cobb, Buford Highway Corridor in DeKalb and Gwinnett. That's where we see that concentration. Now, I know that information is jarring. It's hard to swallow. It's hard to think about how you're going to address it as the regional commission. But the bottom line of all of this, I love the way Nathaniel put it, it's right or wrong. It's that simple. But the bottom line of all of this data is that too many people that we walk by every day, that we see in restaurants, that we walk along the street and either interact with or not, too many of them are struggling. There is prosperity in our region, and everyone is not sharing in that prosperity. But my aim today is not a pity party, right? I want to discuss how our region is moving forward, how we are making investments to make changes to those statistics, and how the important work that each of you who are here today are doing are going to contribute to a better Metro Atlanta region. Let's talk a little bit as an example about housing affordability. In the past 5 years, home prices in Metro Atlanta has risen 4 times faster than your wages have risen, okay? There is not a question that Metro Atlanta needs more housing, and Metro Atlanta needs to preserve the affordable housing that it does have and expand more of it. We're going to not just be unaffordable, right, and risk a portion of our community growing in homelessness, but that competitive edge that I talk about, why people want to move here, because we're so diverse and we're thriving, we're going to begin to lose that if we don't figure out this housing crisis, period. Okay? The Atlanta Regional Commission is working on this in a couple of ways. We have developed a comprehensive toolkit called the Metro Atlanta Housing Strategy. If you have not looked at that website, I encourage you to do so. It has information in every community down to the census block level. You can learn everything there is to know about that community's housing profile, what their housing strengths are in terms of the stock, what their gap is, and it makes recommendations for private sector, the public sector, and that jurisdiction to make investments to transform access to housing in their community. We've also pulled together a group of local elected officials, some from our board, some from outside of our board, to meet, discuss, be informed, and make commitments to each other and the region about what they will do in housing access. You've seen From that effort, Mayor Patty Garrett in Decatur worked with her council to pass missing middle housing reform legislation in her local jurisdiction. We've seen the mayor of the city of Atlanta put housing on as the number one item on his agenda. The county of DeKalb just adopted its first housing strategy. So, folks, there are people working on addressing these issues. Okay? We need to, as Nathaniel said, come alive and figure out what your role is in helping to solve these regional issues. The second thing I want to take a minute to talk about is the addressing health disparities and health access in our region. This has become even more important as we've seen 2 hospitals in South Metro close over the last 5 years, right? Large parts of the Atlanta region are now without access to emergency care. And by the way, depending on the time of day, if you live in Henry County, depending on the type of day and the traffic condition, it's closer for you to go to Macon, to the emergency room, than to go to Green. So we are in the middle of what I call a crisis, and there are things that we have to do as the region to try to address this. ARC has secured funding from the federal government to do a health study that's going to help us better tell the story of how poor people have to drive to access primary care, emergency care, and hospital visits. That'll give us information. But again, you are in this room, you have the resources, you have this convening. Let's start having a conversation about how to change our future in this particular area. Earlier, I mentioned the disparities in life expectancy, depending on where you are in our region. Our Aging and Independent Services Department at ARC is working on an initiative called Living Beyond Expectations. It provides a roadmap for ARC and the region to engage with community partners and make investments to change that statistic about Metro Atlanta, and we are not going to stop that work. There's no easy solution to this. We've got folks from many different disciplines within this audience. I encourage you to not shy away from these tough statistics and these tough conversations about how to move our region forward. So we've done many impactful things in our community. What we're probably best known for at ARC is our significant investment in transportation, right? And we have an opportunity, if you've heard of the Bipartisan Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, we have the single largest investment in infrastructure, certainly in my generation, in the United States, right? But we are seeing that we're coming to this crossroads where now we have the funding for infrastructure, but we don't have the skill set for infrastructure. It's not sexy to be a plumber anymore. No one wants to get on top of a Caterpillar and lay concrete or asphalt, right? We've got to figure out how to talk to our young people and to get people engaged in this type of work, because we're going to have the issue of having the funding to do infrastructure, but nobody to build these roads and bridges and paths and trails that we want to have built in our community, right? So a lot of work to do there. We have to start rethinking about what we think a good job is in Metro Atlanta. So this is scratching the surface of the work that needs to be done. The information contained within these slides gives you a snapshot of the inequity in investments, the inequity in outcomes all across our region. We are trying at the Atlanta Regional Commission, and again, I'm going to echo something that Nathaniel said. No one leader, no one organization can solve these issues by itself. That is the crux of the importance of you all being here today. We've got to put our collective minds together to support the Partnership for Southern Equity, to support the Atlanta Regional Commission, so that the story that we're writing, the future for Metro Atlanta, because we're not going back, is something that we can design and we can invest in. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this conversation.
Thank you so much, Ms. Anna Roach. Thank you all for staying engaged. We just heard from Atlanta Regional Commission, and she shared some really important statistics and data that are not just numbers, but these are like issues that are deeply impacting our region. So I just want to kind of show of hands, how many of you live within the Atlanta region? Okay, that's many of us. And who learned something new during that presentation, right? And it's that information, right, that probably disturbs some of us in this room. And it is those things that make us come alive. So I just encourage you all to sit with what she shared in her presentation, and just really hone in on what it is that you can do. Ask yourself what you can do to come alive, to start to make changes within this region. I do have a brief announcement. So we had a 10-minute break built in, but we're going to instead stay in this room, stretch it out a little bit. So I just want to encourage everybody to stand up for a moment, if you can. Stand up for a moment. DJ Salah, can we get like a cool little tune? A cool little tune. I'm gonna let you pick. All right. All right. So, yes, if you haven't introduced yourself to the people at your table, please introduce yourselves. This is a good time to walk around the room. Introduce yourself. Be someone new. Don't leave. Please don't leave yet. All right. If we can, let's head back to our seats. People sneaking out. Let's head back to our seats. There will be plenty of opportunities to connect again. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're heading back to our seats. That was a brief break. Thank you all so much for your cooperation, your engagement today. All right. All right, let's get back into it. Up next, we have an incredible speaker who's going to challenge us to think differently and act boldly. But for now, I want to introduce to you an amazing leader within PSC, Kazim, who is our director of Solutions.
Buenos días. Kalimera. 안녕하세요. I'm trying to connect with the diversity of people that we reach, that we speak to. Ni hao ma. Where are my people at? Okay. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning, and I have the honor and privilege of introducing our next speaker. Let me take these off because I only need to do. So, working at the intersection of culture and the economy, Anasa Troutman is the founder of the Big We Foundation, and Big We Capital. Anasa was also instrumental in acquiring the historic Claiborne Temple in 2019, home of the 1968 sanitation workers strike in the South's historic Black Memphis. ANASA is currently stewarding the mission to restore historic Clayton Temple as its leading and founding executive director. Memphis-based, ANASA is a writer, producer, and real estate developer who has dedicated her work to the importance of culture and the power of love. Culture Shift 101, she has taught thousands of artists, organizers, and leaders the power and practice of culture and narrative-based social strategies. ANASA attended Spelman College and enjoys music, dancing, reading, and learning things. I had a little joke with ANASA before I came up here. I'm sure she's not going to mind me sharing this with you. I said, I'm going to try not to call you Asana. We laughed about it. For those of you who are project managed, please join me and work with me, ANASA, to this.
Well, good morning. Oh, you know what? My father used to do talks. He'd have to tell people to do that twice. Y'all did good. Y'all did good. I want to warn you that you are not about to sit and watch me talk for 30 minutes. This is about to be super, like, I want to know. I don't get out the house much. So I'm really curious about where you are and what you need and what is going to happen in this room in the next 30 minutes. So I want you to get ready to talk to each other, to talk to me. I'm gonna make you stand up. I'm gonna make you yell. I'm gonna make you do all kinds of stuff. Okay? Are you ready? Okay. Sweet. Uh-oh. Can somebody help me with this slide? 'Cause I don't know how to use this. Oh, it's a video. Why are you watching that? It's a good video. It's a good video, but I don't know what I'm talking about. Here we go. Come on. All right. I have breakfast. Everybody hydrated. Everybody had a good rest last night. Great. I did not. But it's all right. All right. Y'all see that? Great. Today we're going to talk about getting free. We want, right? That's why we're here, to get free. We're going to talk about how to do that through the power, the incredible power of culture and story, because that's really all we know how to talk about. So I want to just bring our attention back to this quote. When I talked to the team about what this whole event was about, they talked to me about this quote for about 20 minutes. I'm not going to make them do this. Yes, we're going to read it together so it can be in your body. Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3, let's go. Don't ask what the world means. Ask what makes you come alive and you do it. Because what the world means is to have people come alive. Yes. Amen. How does that feel in your body? Do you feel alive? You're going to come alive in a few minutes. So I want to pause and just tell you a little bit about myself. Actually, it's a lot of my life. I lived in a 20 years. I went to Spelman and I never left. And I tell people that I grew up in Jersey, but I became a woman in Atlanta. And part of the reason that I became a woman here is because what I learned is empowering storytelling and culture, specifically in the context of community. This is too much information, but I had a record label here back in the 90s. You know, independent music was cool. And I really, you know, when you get older, like you get out of your parents' house and you look around, you're like, wait, the world is not the way it was in my mom and dad's house. It kind of sucks out here. I don't like it. And I wanted to figure out what I could do to make the world the way that I thought it should be in my mind. And the only answer I could come up with is culture and story. And so I've been spending the last 12 years trying to figure out how to perfect that model and how to make sure that the ways that we want to be in a home are reflected in all of the powers and systems and places of power in the world. Yeah? So I have a question that I want you to talk to each other about for just 2 minutes. Is when you hear the words come alive, what does that mean for you? What does it look like for you to come alive?
30 seconds to tell your neighbor. You're gonna have to get real clear real quick. You got 30 more seconds. Ten seconds. Start to wrap it up. All right. Attention back to me. Who is ready to share with me what it means for you to come in? Yes. What's your name, sweet girl? Hi, Mahogany. My name is Anasa. It's wonderful to meet you. Y'all heard that? Mahogany says for her to come alive. Yes. Can I have one other person? Yes. Yes. What's your name? Rachel. Hi, Rachel. It's good to meet you. Rachel is talking about free will and like being free and being able to make your own choices and being self-determined, right? So the thing is that both what Mahogany and Rachel said, those are actually expressions of culture. So I want to talk to you for a little bit about what culture is, because I found in my work is that most of us think that culture, creativity, are all the same thing. Anybody here think it's okay? I know you do. You don't have to lie. You don't have to protect yourself. But I want to talk about these three things and actually understand what we're talking about when we're talking about culture, okay? We're going to start with creativity. That's the easiest one. Who feels like they know what creativity is? Yes, it's that ability to like create something from nothing, to be able to like imagine, innovate, all those words that we love, right? I have a sidebar that this is not what I'm supposed to say, but this is important. I think I'm in a room full of people who believe that it is part of their purpose to make the world be different than it is right now. Is that true? Okay. If you are a person, if anybody in here believe that they're artist? Okay. I'm going to ask you that again in 2 minutes. I don't want everybody to put their hand up. Only a few minutes. If you are someone who is thinking about the world being different, you are thinking about creating something that has literally never existed before. If you think that you are going to transform humanity and not engage yourself as an artist or a creative, you are sadly mistaken. There is no way to manifest the planet that we want, the culture that we want, the values that the policies that we want, and for us not to be creative and imaginative innovators. So I'm going to ask you again, very good. Don't you ever let me tell you that you're not, because you create every day. Yes? Now let's talk about art. Art is like the easy part, right? It's like a painting, a song. It's basically a story can come in many. And y'all heard earlier that I bought this book called Story Play one time that was a poem saying patient work strike in 1968. Do you know what that is? That's the strike that gave birth to the iconic I Am a Man sign. You see Daniel in that t-shirt all the time. You know what I'm talking about? I Am a Man. That's a story. Walking around with a sign that says I Am a Man is storytelling. Walking around like with your storytelling. Wearing a hat with a fist on is storytelling. Just like a film or a song or a book or a book or anything else, right? My sidebar for art making is that a lot of people use art in their work. You do too, whether you think so or not. You have flyers, you have T-shirts, you have all kind of stuff that you use in your work. It doesn't say that aesthetics matter in art. If you want to use art to inform, to inspire, to enroll people in your vision, to get them to come over to your meeting, to come to sign on to your policy, you need to be working directly with people who do that all day, every day for a living, who make people see over their work. Ugly flyers need to get people to them, okay? That's a sidebar. It's not important right now, but you're gonna remember I said that in 2 weeks. Okay, so now this is the real important conversation. Is talking about culture. So culture is basically an agreement that you make with other people about how to show up. Yeah? Ooh, y'all are saying, yeah. Okay. You can create a culture in your home with your family. You can have a culture in your school. You can have a culture in your organization, on your block, in your city, in your country, and the whole world. Right? Because all it means is that you have a set of agreements about how you're going to show up. Culture dictates how you dress, you eat, you greet each other, but also dictates what your policies look like and how your city government prioritizes budgets. The information that we just got from Anna about knowing that if you live in this neighborhood, you will live 25 years longer than if you live in this neighborhood, that is an expression of culture. That is not an accident. That is like we have agreed on a set of values that translates into you get to live for 25 years if you live. Y'all see that? What kind of value do you think are at the core of a culture that says if you go to this school, you get a computer, and if you get to go to this school, you get a 10-year-old book? That was a real question. Talk to me. Yes, absolutely. What, if for y'all didn't hear, someone said the culture of capitalism, culture of money, is also the culture of inequality. What culture, what value would have to be at the center of our culture if we were able to like know that every child got the same things, or that every person had the same life expectancy no matter what neighborhood they live in? What values would have to be at the center of our culture? Life, love, solidarity, all of those. See, I get a little off track because I get excited about the stuff with the next one. Like, hold on one second. I said all kind of stuff like what is important to say? Ooh, yes. Okay. All right. I want to be transparent and say that like when I think about core values, and I'm not saying this just because it's something I think about love and abundance every time. I'm like, what does policy look like if we had a core value of love and abundance? And we didn't think from a sense of scarcity. We knew that there was enough because there is enough. There's enough. Yes. So anything I say from now on is going to be from a core value of love and abundance. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit now about how you leverage culture and storytelling and creativity. Yeah? Y'all might, if you want to write this down, but you know it's also cool, but you might want to talk about this with your teams. So this is what we call a cultural strategy. Everybody say cultural strategy. Yes. I want to tell you why I think this is important. 95% of people are never going to read your policy statement. They don't give a damn about your 12-point plan. They're not going to read your white paper. You don't even read your white paper. I do this every day and I'm not going to read your white paper. But 100% of people who feel welcome and invited and excited about your vision will show up. So if you are serious about coming alive, I have a question. Do white peppers make you feel alive? Okay, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page because I think that if you want to come alive inside of your own body, inside of your own organization, and you also invite the world into your vision or whoever it is that you need to convince. If this, we need to convince the school board about this one thing, so let's enroll them in our vision, enroll them in our culture, so that the things that we want them to do become like a natural thing for them to do. Enroll them in our core values, so it's like, duh, of course we're going to make sure kids get free lunch that's healthy and don't have attention to them. That's a cultural expression. So when you are thinking about the work that you're doing, the vision that you have, whether you're like big vision, world where love is amazing and everybody feels abundant, we talk about that in building the love community. As we define the love community as everybody having a sustained experience of safety, joy, love, and abundance. Doesn't that sound so good? I want to live there so bad. But it might be like, we want to get this passed to the school board. We want to get this budget passed at the mayor. So, like, how do you think about what are the core values at the center of the thing that you're trying to get influenced? You know? And then you have to figure out what is the story that we can tell that embodies these values and invites people into the action that we want. Maybe it's an elder getting up at the, what do you call those things? City council meeting and telling her story. Maybe it's a video on one of those social media platforms. Maybe it's quick pasted posters all over downtown. I don't know how you want to tell your story, but if you can connect your storytelling to the core values that are at the center of what you want, and then after those stories are told, creating a shared cultural experience, you can have conversations with those folks, whether it's your neighbor or your mama or the city council or whoever it is, so that they actually can get the fluid in their own body and their own consciousness, and you all go and practice. What does it look like? We have learned, we have heard this story, we have learned a lesson from this story, we understand what we want as a result, so what are we gonna do? You can't start with what are we gonna do. We always want to start with what do we want to do. We always want somebody to go vote or march or protest or whatever. But we don't enroll them in our vision of why. We're always talking about what we don't want. We're always talking about what we're going to tear down. Well, what is going to be there? Like, so let's say it all gets torn down. And people don't have nowhere to go because you didn't build it. I'm 20 seconds to let y'all let that sink in. Are you going to be the person tearing everything down? Or are you going to be the person that lets people in because you have something built for them? I have news for you. You don't have to turn that to them because they're tearing it up down themselves right now. And while you're spending your time being mad about it, once it's all torn down, people ain't going to have nowhere to go. They're not going to have a vision to live into. So what you going to do about that? What are you going to do about it? Okay, come alive. Okay. I have time to tell you so much anyway. Have y'all heard the name Reverend James Lawson? So Reverend James Lawson is the architect of nonviolence. He was the person that taught Dr. King about nonviolence. He also happened to be one of the lead organizers of the sanitation worker strike in Memphis. And so he came to Memphis once and I got to sit with him for 4 hours. It was like the best day of my life. And he told me, I want y'all to stop saying that we were building a civil rights movement. I was like, you guys, what are you talking about? He said, we were not working for civil rights. Anybody shocked to hear that, or was it just me? Okay. He said, we were working to manifest God's kingdom on earth. Do you hear the difference between I'm having a civil rights movement and I'm working to manifest God's kingdom on earth? Do you hear that? This is what I'm talking about. What are you inviting people into? What are you inviting your own self into? If you wake up every morning, you're like, I am here to fight the system. Or you wake up in the morning, you say, I am here to manifest love and abundance. I think we should say it together because it felt so good in my body when I said it. We're going to say, I am here to manifest love and abundance on the planet. Y'all ready? Let's go. I am here to manifest love and abundance on the planet. What is your name? Okay. Now, when we said that, Carla did like this. And it was so beautiful. So now we're all going to do it. You ready? I am here to manifest love and abundance on the planet. All right. I feel like we're about to come alive up in here. Okay, we're coming alive. All right. All right. This is the hard part. Okay, I'm so sorry for what I'm about to say. This is the if you want everybody on the whole entire planet to behave out of love and abundance, you can't ask them to do that until you're doing it. So I'm sorry. If you want people to be fair and kind, but you yell at your staff and don't give them grace. If you want people to see you in your full humanity when you look at someone else who is different from you and do not look at them in theirs, whatever is different about them, you're not on the right track. So I implore you to dig deep in this season of your life. And if you need a therapist, if you have trauma that you need to heal, if you have spaces like blinders around other folks that you don't understand that they to be their humanity and have self-determination and make choices to be love and abundance too, I want to ask you to do that work. Because you don't get to ask me to come into your vision if you're not living in it. Everybody all right with that? I hear y'all clapping, but are y'all ready to do the work? Okay. Okay. I feel like it's a little. I want to have an experiment about the power of storytelling. Everybody stand up. If you're able and you're comfortable, stand, please. If you just don't feel like it, it's cool. Sometimes I don't feel like it. Ready? I'm going to say something and I want you to yell at me what it brings up for you. Ready? I hope this works. I've never done this before. You guys ready? Say it loud. Come on! Come on! That is the power of storytelling. That is a powerful, resonant, aesthetically pleasing story. Decades later, people will be able to repeat it back to you. Do you see what just happened? A room full of people, 50 years later, repeated a story that was meant to help people understand their beauty and their power and their agency and their access to their God-given right to abundance. That is the power of story, y'all. If you're not thinking deeply about how to use story and culture and imagination in your work, you are not doing your work. If you are one of those people who have the creativity, be it out of them, not literally, but like, when they have that thing where they're like, all the 5-year-olds, who's an artist? Everyone raises their hand. You get it with the 50-year-olds, who's an artist? And no one raises their hand. You're the same person you were at 5, but someone just told you that whatever you were drawing was ugly. Well, who cares? I'm not asking you to put something in the Schomburg. I'm not asking you to put something in the high. I'm not asking for a lot to play your record, but I am asking you to sing anyway, even if he never does. Because that's your power. That's your power. That's your expression. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. All right. This is really important because I was at a retreat a few weeks ago. I'm in this cohort full of these incredible Black women, and the facilitator said something that just totally tore me down. And she said, "You cannot be liberated alone." I think this is really important. We're talking about culture, we're talking about transformation, we're talking about coming alive. If you feel like you're coming alive and you're somewhere by yourself in the corner, you are not alive. So many of us are so hurt, have been through so much. We're not willing to open our hearts or our homes or our minds to other people. As a recovering codependent who spent my whole life trying to support other people but would never, ever ask for anything for myself. Any other codependents in the house? Okay, I know it's the rest of y'all too, don't lie. I feel like codependency is a human condition at this point. But we gotta be able to come together outside of our meetings and our rallies. You gotta be able to know how to actually connect with someone else as a human. You have to learn how to be vulnerable. I know people don't like that word. It is the most powerful thing that you can do as a human being is to be open. I promise. If anybody feels triggered by the word vulnerability, I'm going to invite you to go online and investigate within friends. You don't have to, it's just an invitation. But it will change your life. And it will help you understand that vulnerability is not being weak. Vulnerability is being the most powerful version of yourself that is possible. And it'll also help you understand that all those things that hurt you when you think you're being weak are just stories that you told yourself about yourself. And you get to change the story. You get to be the one that says, I'm powerful and beautiful and happy. My being and my brilliance goes beyond other people's opinions and other people's actions. You get to say, no matter what I've done and what's been done to me, of God's love. I'm still worthy of abundance. I'm still worthy of community. I'm still worthy. These are expressions of y'all. The reason we don't already think that is because we have a culture that tells us that you have to perform and achieve and be a certain thing and that and thing in order to have those things. It's not true. You were born, so it's all yours. The only prerequisite for worthiness on this planet is to be born. Anybody here ever not been born? I didn't think so. Okay, sweet. Okay, I got 2 minutes. How are we going to spend our 2 minutes? All right. Most of the time, I'm a pretty jovial person. I just was kind of born with this. But sometimes I get discouraged because even if you do all of the work, tell all the stories, be creative, in your creative practice, tell beautiful strategies, and have wins, sometimes it don't work out. Sometimes your funder calls you and says, can you take the word equity out of here? Sometimes people don't show up to the meeting. Sometimes your team doesn't do their job. Sometimes, even though you put everything into it, you lose the election. And it's hard. But we gotta be able to figure out what to do when it gets hard. So, I have a couple advice things, and then we're gonna practice something. And then I'm gonna go sit down because I'm really thirsty. I think the first thing I want to say is it's okay to mourn. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to cry. It's okay to take a break. Like, if you take 2 weeks off from being an organizer and just go lay down, it's okay. It's gonna be a whole bunch of stuff you organize around when you come back, I promise. That's the first thing. The second thing is that sometimes we have to put our morning off because we're in an emergency and we can't afford to take a break. Or at least we believe we can't afford to take a break. That's a whole other talk. And we got to figure out how to get there. Some days we're just like not feeling it. You know what I'm saying? So I have always had a lot of kids around me for some reason. Like kids and animals like me for some years. And I used to have these two little girls in particular. They were both cousins, and they would be like hanging out with me all the time. And sometimes they would just be acting real crazy. And I would be like, "You can't be in here acting crazy. You got to figure something out." Oh, that's my timer. Oh my God, it's time for me to get out. Okay, 1 second. And so then I would say, "What's your favorite thing?" And one of them said, "All kinds of candy." And the other said, "Ice cream parties." And I said, "Okay. Every time y'all act crazy, you get cranky, you start to act mad, you get sad, you have a tantrum and make you scream that at the top of your lungs until you start laughing. Feel good. And it works every time. Every time. Every single time. So if you have a energy emergency and you got to pull yourself together, all you have to do is think of the thing that you love, 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 and scream it out loud until you can't stop laughing. You do it right now. Everybody get up. I see you back there. You're like, "No, I don't want to do it." You have two options. You can come up with your own thing, something that you love, someone that you love. No, it's not gonna be about nobody else. We're not finding our identity in other people in here. It can be anything. If it was my sister, she would say the world, but whatever. We're not gonna do that today. If you want to, you can say love and abundance. Okay? We're gonna do it 5 times. Just scream that thing 5 times. Top of your lungs. Move your body. Do it from your toes. Pretend like you're in the room by yourself, or pretend like you're safe enough to do this in front of other people. Radical. Ready? I'm not gonna do it with you because I want to hear your voices. Okay? Hit it. Go. Yes! 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 Does it feel great? The world needs you just like this. The way you feel right now, we need you just like this. Stay alive, y'all. Stay alive. Thank you.
Are y'all energized? Y'all awake? Okay. Look, thank you so much for that powerful presentation. Her message on getting free, I feel like it serves each and every one of us. We are really working toward experiencing safety, joy, love, and abundance. It's a call to action that we can all take to heart. So I want to check back in with y'all. If I remember when we first started, I said we wanted to make sure that we are all in alignment. And so on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being I'm barely here, and 10 being I'm ready to build a just future. How are y'all feeling? All right, I hear 10s across the board. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So now I'd like to take a moment to point out that each of our PSE staff are wearing shirts that represent our core values that we hold close. So if you have someone stand, all right, Joel's in the back. You see empathy, courage, integrity, wonder, agency, and innovation. And these are our values that drive our work
And we hope that they will inspire you as much as they inspire us. I also wanted to share that we are streaming live on Facebook. If everybody can just wave your hand to our friends joining us on Facebook.